Been at it a minute, but trust me, we're just getting started, bro. Just wanted to let you guys know, if you haven't hit the notification bell for my channel, that will definitely help you get all of my videos. I know YouTube goes through this really weird thing whenever you don't upload for a little while, like I did a month ago, not uploading because I was moving. It's almost like YouTube takes you completely off of the face of the earth. It's like they act like you don't even exist. Like you get taken off of the recommended pages and everything, and it's like you got to dig your way back to that point where YouTube, is like starting to send your videos out again. So I just wanted to say that is one of the biggest ways you can help my channel, is by hitting the notification bell. You guys know I've never been the kind of dude to be like, hey, hit that subscribe button, dude. Hey, subscribe, like, and favorite, and all that crap. I try to not be annoying like that, but when YouTube basically has a double subscribe thing, it's like you just subscribing to somebody doesn't even really do anything. It's like you have to subscribe and then hit the notification bell if you're really wanting to get their videos, So just wanted to let you guys know I appreciate it. We're gonna get this thing going, dog. Supercross 4 could be the greatest milestone game ever. So yeah, wanted to come in here and make a video, and we've not really been hearing a lot from Milestone. Obviously, the no new MXGP game has really been announced or anything, at least from what I've seen. I don't even think we're going to be getting an MXGP game this year. So it definitely is kind of interesting when you start thinking about what are they actually up to right now, right? Are they like working on Supercross 4? Are they just trying to put all their eggs in that basket? Or are they working on some sort of combination game? Well, what are they doing? It kind of like really makes you think a little bit, because this is not like Milestone, first of all, to even come out with the Supercross 3 game that actually has, inertia to the bike and all this other kind of stuff, and good feeling to the bike and all that. And it's also not like Milestone to only put out one motocross or Supercross game in a year. That's not like Milestone either. So I don't know if it's because of all the craziness why they're not coming out with the MXGP game this year, or I don't know. I have no idea. But either way, I know there's still this, select amount of people that are stuck in their ways, that think that the first and second Supercross game were just far superior to Supercross 3. I don't know how on earth they could ever come to that conclusion at all, but there are still some people out there that think that way. And my point is, if you weren't sold on this whole new physics idea and, more leaning on the bike and more inertia and all that you have here with Supercross 3, just wait, dog. If they continue to go down the roads of how much more they're doing with the physics and how much more they're doing with the filling on the bike and the track designs and all that kind of stuff, if they continue down those roads, just wait, bro. Like, they will come out with a game that it'll just be like, oh my God, this is just beyond far superior than the first 2 Supercross games. I thought that way about Supercross 3. I'm just being completely honest with you. Like, Supercross 3, yeah, it's not a perfect game. Yeah, they could have done more with it and all that, but the physics could have been better, right? But in my opinion, it is far superior motocross physics than what you had in the first and second Supercross games. First and second Supercross games weren't even really motocross physics. They were just like pretend facade wannabe dirt bike game physics. They weren't even really, they were tricking you, bro, is what it was. They were tricking you into thinking it was like real physics, but the no negatives to coming up short on something, never popping off the bike. Those games just felt fake to me. Those, especially the first Supercross game. I know the second one kind of did a few little things to try to combat that, but still, they had a core physics issue in those first 2 Supercross games, and the physics issue was the fact that there was no physics. There was no inertia to the bike. There was no filling to the bike, right? So whatever kind of excuse or whatever you can say that leads you to believe those first 2 Supercross games had a better filling on the bike, well, it all comes down to they didn't even really have a feeling on the bike. There was no feeling on the bike. When you don't have inertia, there is no feeling. It's just like you're playing a bland, basic mobile game that has no movement and no real feeling to the physics. And that's really the way, especially the first Supercross game. Second one wasn't quite as bad, but it was still, they didn't dig down in their physics when they went to the second Supercross game. It's like they just tried to patch up what was wrong with the first Supercross games, whereas Supercross 3 feels like they've actually done a little surgery. They've actually cut down in there a little bit and really started to change the way some of the feelings of the bikes and stuff like that are, and the movement and leaning forward and backwards and how much you pop off and all that kind of stuff, in combination with making better track designs and everything else. So you just imagine if they continue down that road, Supercross 4 could be amazing. Like, literally could be reflex level on Supercross tracks type game. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not exaggerating when I'm saying that. Like, they're finally getting to the point now where it wouldn't shock me if the next Supercross game is actually really comparable to Reflex. It wouldn't even actually shock me at this point. It would have shocked me before they came out with Supercross 3. They were never going to go from what they were doing in the first two Supercross games to, boom, a new game that was like comparable to Reflex. They were never going to do that. But now that we have Supercross 3, what a stepping stone to that, right? It's like they just, I don't know, it's like they finally hired somebody that actually knew what the hell they were doing with motocross physics and inertia. I don't know if that was something to do with them getting under the same parent company as MX versus ATV. I know that's like a big speculation, a big theory. They got, Milestone got bought out by THQ Nordic, which is the owners of MX versus ATV, and that was all kind of before this Supercross 3 game, so they definitely had time to sort of do their little MX versus ATV magic on the physics of it, and that's what this game feels like. It feels like a MX versus ATV Milestone mixture game, straight up. It's like they're finally getting where the bike has some gravity and some weight to it. There's so many things that goes into the physics of a motocross game. And when you go back to those first two Supercross games, it's just so undeveloped. It's just so basic. So like some dude went to just got out of college, hasn't made a game in his life and tried to go in there and make motocross, dirt bike physics in a game. That's what those first two Supercross games felt like to me. Whereas Supercross 3, it's more of like somebody that knows what they're doing, like somebody that's a veteran in, motocross physics. I'm not saying it's perfect. They still got a little ways to go to get to like a Reflex type vibe feeling, but dog, there is a lot of really, really cool elements to it. So, but not only that, one of the biggest things is just, it's the track editor. I mean, that is especially in these games that don't come with a lot of track content from the beginning. I think that is one of the biggest things that not only Milestone needs to do with their next game, but MX versus ATV needs to do with their next game. They need a PC-based track editor. If any of you guys have seen the M-Excavator, whatever the hell track editor that is on the... whatever the hell they call it. I think it's called M-Excavator, right? It's an application from the developer, the track editor that's on the MX vs. ATV Unleashed on PC, and that they now just came out with that same kind of track editor for MX vs. ATV Supercross Encore on PC. So the same kind of M-Excavator track editor, top-down, well, I guess not 100% top-down, but, 3D... you can go in there real time, build the track, build it any way you want to. It's not based off of pre-made module pieces. You can paint down any kind of decal you want. Oh my God, I came up short. But, paint down any kind of decal you want, lighting effects, any kind of jump, rut, anything you can possibly imagine that you want to put down on the track, objects, custom importable objects and importable decals and everything like that. This James Stewart bike is slower than the normal bike that I'm used to, okay? But yeah, that kind of track editor at the bare minimum is what needs to be in the next MX versus ATV game and the next Milestone game. Bare minimum. Even if they want to keep their super console style pre-made piece type track editor for the console version of their next Milestone game, that's okay, I guess, but they need an actual PC-based track editor for their game. That way you can start having motocross tracks, you can start having hybrid custom tracks, you can start having custom, straight rhythm tracks, all your own custom outdoor Supercross tracks. They need to give you the ability, like in the M-Excavator application, where you can build your custom track outdoors. You can build it inside of a stadium. There should be no restrictions to any of that. That way, you can come out with a new official Supercross game, and it's like you come out with all the standard Supercross, tracks of whatever year you're trying to replicate, and then you have like whatever 1 or 2 free ride tracks, and then you have some of these, cool outdoor training Supercross tracks or whatever. But then you have all of those custom tracks that anybody can make on the M-Excavator, and you could have it to where it's got Steam Workshop support, to where any of the tracks that you make on PC can go to the Steam Workshop, and anybody can download them super easily. And they need to have something in here. I know I spoke about this on my Reflex Remastered video that I came out with, but they could do the same thing with this. If they have that PC-based full-blown track editor for the next Milestone game, they could have it to where even if you can't get that track editor on the console version of the game, you should still be able to download the custom tracks from the Steam Workshop on your console somehow. They definitely need to figure out how to do that. They need to figure out how to make that work in all of these games that only have like a PC-based track editor. Like a Reflex Remastered or Reflex or the next MX vs. ATV game or the next Milestone game, whatever it is, if it's that PC-only based style track editor, they need to give you the ability to still download the community-made custom tracks even when you're on the console. I know there's a way they can do that. I know it can't be that complicated. It really can't. There's just got to be a way they'd have to figure out how to do it. Maybe that's like a next-gen console thing. I don't know exactly, but there's definitely a way they could figure out how to do that, because I know there's still a lot of people that play these motocross games on console. I know there is starting to get more and more people starting to play it on PC, but there still is a lot of people that play these games on console, and that would just expand it so much more. So they really need that kind of M-Excavator style track editor on PC of the next Milestone game really bad. That's like massive. That trumps just about any other quote-unquote new feature or new thing or new kind of track they could add to the game. That about trumps just any other idea you could ever have, because that's just so much more, track content and replayability and everything else to the game whenever you add those actual full-blown PC-based track editors. So if they do all that, keep advancing the physics, make the whip physics a little more natural, a little more fluent flowing like it was back in Reflex, give you a little bit more of a leaning forward and backwards hucking system whenever you're trying to actually huck the bike when you come around a corner and you're trying to triple in a rhythm section, right? Give you a little more of that leaning forward and backwards, I think would do big things for this game. Just keep advancing that inertia of the physics all the way around, like how they went from Supercross to... Okay, so let me explain it like this. The difference between the inertia of like the first 2 Supercross games to the third Supercross game? Pretty drastic difference, because the first 2 didn't even have inertia, okay? And then the third one did. So if they make that same size of a leap that they did from the first 2 Supercross games to the third Supercross game, physics-wise, if they make that same kind of leap from Supercross 3 to Supercross 4, oh my God, it's going to be amazing. Oh my God, bro. Like, could you imagine that? Oh, by the way, if any of you guys are trying to get in my Discord, all you got to do is DM me on Instagram at Spencer Turley, no spaces and no capital letters. DM me on there. I'll get you in my Instagram, or in my... Sorry, I got a little confused there. Good Lord, I've been making some videos today. I'll get you in my Discord. All you got to do is DM me on there. I'm on there pretty much every night playing all different kinds of games, and I get in there on my general chat where anybody can join if they want to. So, yeah, man, be sure and hit me up on Insta, and I'll get you in that puppy. But, Yeah, dude. I'm actually really excited about this next Supercross game. This is probably the most excited I've ever been for a milestone game in my entire life thus far. Just because now that they're actually seeming to prioritize gameplay and physics and filling on the bike and not so much trying to, put all their eggs into the basket of graphical advancements and all this other kind of bullshit that doesn't really matter so much when it comes to the gameplay. It seems like now they're actually starting to care more about the things that really matter, like the physics of the bike and the inertia and the track designs and the skill gap and the replayability and all that kind of stuff. So that's what really excites me, just knowing that their mindset is in way better of a place now than it was in those first two Supercross games. And the fact that they are under the same parent company as MX versus ATV, that's got to be a positive. That's got to be something. It's already been a positive with Supercross 3. It's already, I don't know how much, MX versus ATV actually influenced or helped them or whatever, but whatever the case may be, whatever happened, we have a totally different milestone game now than we've ever had before, physics-wise and, jump skill gap-wise and all that with Supercross 3, so it had to have played some kind of a part. So it's exciting to see that. But yeah, Supercross 4, dog. Definitely let me know down in the comments what you guys think about it, what you want to see out of it. There's a ton of things, you can get into they need a better terrain deformation system with Supercross 4 because it's basically just non-existent in Supercross 3. Yeah, it's somewhat visual, but it doesn't really physically change the track, and it never really has physically changed the tracks on these milestone games. So they can definitely make big advances with their terrain deformation systems for Supercross 4, and that's another massive thing that they could take influence from the MX vs. ATV series, specifically like from the way it was in Reflex. If Supercross 4, the official video game, had the same terrain deformation system as Reflex, I would literally lose it, dog. I would be so happy about that. Oh my God, could you imagine that? But yeah, those are some of the heavy hitter things, better terrain deformation system. The track, if they're not going to put more like base track content, like more free ride maps and, motocross tracks in their Supercross game, if they're not going to do any of that, they need to at least give us the ability to do that for them with a full-blown PC-based track editor, right? Like, if you're not going to put it in there yourself, what the kind of content the game should have, at least give the community the ability to make it for your game. It can't be that big of a deal to do that. It can't be that big of a, hassle to make that happen. No way in hell. Is it going to kind of trivialize your track DLC and shit that you try to come out with? Yeah, it is. But is it going to make your game last 10 times as long and make, thousands and thousands of more people want to purchase your game from the beginning when you have a full-blown PC-based track editor? Also, yes. So, you got to weigh, when it comes to business with this shit, you got to weigh all the options. You got to weigh what really is going to make you more money, what really is going to, keep your fan base coming back to your games more and more and more. And I promise you a full-blown PC-based track editor is going to do that more than just about anything. So, very, very important thing. That, and then the physics, continuing to advance the physics and the inertia and all that good stuff. When you start getting into like more legends or like different campaign features, it just kind of, yeah, some of that stuff could be cool, but it's not like big game-changing stuff, really, unless they had you start at Loretta Lynn's or something like that, It would be cool to see like an 85cc bike in the next game just for the shits and giggles, even if we don't have to go to Loretta's and do all that kind of campaign stuff. It would be cool to see like at least an 85cc bike or, I don't know, just any two-stroke at all in general, just, two strokes in general on your Supercross games. Yeah, what the fuck happened to that? I don't know. Still confused about that one, but obviously they give you the one 500cc bike if you buy the Great Legends DLC, but it is not like the normal two-stroke DLC the normal like base versions of the two-strokes like they have in their MXGP games. Still completely confused on why they can't have that in a Supercross game. They obviously can, because they did with Rick Johnson. So don't sit here and tell me they can't have two-strokes in the official Supercross game. It's bullshit. They can and they should, and there's no reason not to. They just need a customizable 125 and a customizable 252 stroke. And if they want to do any more than that, that's just icing on the cake, right? But good Lord, give us our two strokes back. So either way, yeah, that's some of the heavy hitter things I want to see in Supercross 4, but I'm super hyped. I mean, like, it's finally to the point where I'm going to get to that point where I'm starting to get hyped about the next Supercross game like a lot of you dudes got hyped about the first Supercross game. You see what I'm saying? Because now there's actually proof in the pudding that they're trying to dedicate time to the physics of the bike. They're trying to dedicate time to the track designs. They're trying to make it more skill gappy, not so like a mobile game, trying to give you more inertia to the physics. You know, now we have proof with Supercross 3 that they are trying to do all those things. They're trying to step in the right direction. So see, when I get hyped about something, it's because I actually have proof behind it. A lot of you dudes that got hyped about the first Supercross game, you didn't even really have proof behind it. MXGP 3 was not some proof that the first official Supercross game was going to be some amazing, you know, physics. Oh my God, look at this new game. There was no proof behind it. That's why I was really confused about a lot of that early day hype around that first Supercross game. And then it came out and it was just a painfully average game. Literally a 5 out of 10 game. And Supercross 2 was like a 6 out of 10. I don't know. They're like, it's just like they're both just painfully average. Yeah, they do a lot of things right, like the graphics, and we haven't had an official Supercross game in forever and all that. And, you know, yeah, they do some things really well, but, man, when it came to the gameplay and the feeling on the bike, it was just, oh my God, so basic, so boring, so just nothing to it, you know? No skill gap, no real replayability, just so boring physics. So it is definitely a breath of fresh air with Supercross 3. So, yeah, man, either way. Don't forget to hit that notification bell on my channel if you want to see all my notifications. If you don't, that's cool, dog. I'm not going to force you. Appreciate you guys watching all the videos. Later, dudes.